viewpoint from overseas, I'm your host Faraz Darvesh. First and foremost, congrats and congratulations to the entire Pakistani nation for winning the cricket series. Definitely it's a big news for each and every Pakistani, and we've been celebrating, the entire Pakistan has been celebrating, so we'll take a deep dive into cricket in the first half, and then we'll discuss what's happening in upcoming days. Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Washington DC and will be meeting with President Trump. What is on the agenda? What will be discussed? Will the H1B issue be discussed? So we'll go deep dive onto that, and then we'll discuss the newly released video from Pakistan intelligence about on Kulbhushan Jadhav, where he's admitting on many of the crimes he committed. What is the authenticity of this video? He's admitting that he was involved in many killings in Pakistan. He was involved in killings of Hazara in Quetta. So we'll discuss further into that. I have with me Ms. Bazam, Riaz. Riaz, thank you for joining, both of you. Tell me, Riaz, how do you feel after this big victory of Pakistan?
Yeah, it's a great win. I mean, when Pakistan started, nobody gave it a chance. They basically written off, especially after they lost the first match against India very badly. They were the bottom-ranked team. There were 8 teams in the tournament. They were number 8.
And even I think many in Pakistan were not expecting this result.
So and then the bad performance actually just further, basically confirmed in people's mind that, hey, these guys don't have a chance of winning.
Right.
But they went on to win. In fact, not just win, but win by the highest ever margin in the history of ICC finals by 180 runs. No other team has
Which is highly significant,
ever
margin.
With that margin. Right. Now, with this win, Pakistan has now won all 3 ICC titles in the last couple of decades, starting with the World Cup in 1992, and then Pakistan won the T20 Cup, and now the Champions Trophy. Only 3 other teams have won all 3 titles so far, and those teams are India, Sri Lanka, and West Indies. Pakistan is the 4th team. Now, what happened, I think there's a couple of factors that you can attribute this to. One key factor that I think that helped Pakistan was the launch of the PSL, the Pakistan Super League. Because the players who performed the best on the Pakistani side, starting with Sarfaraz Ahmad, who scored a century, and he's a very aggressive batsman. He gave Pakistan a very rapid run rate early on, built a very strong foundation that they could capitalize on. The other players that were really good were like Hassan Ali. He did very well in the tournament, Jadhav Khan. So I think overall the PSL made a big difference. And then on the bowling side, I think the biggest difference came because of Mohammad Amir. Now remember, Mohammad Amir was actually suspended for many years for corruption allegations. And the older players, the senior players, and a lot of the Pakistani cricket establishment did not want to have him accept them back in the Pakistani side. But Najam Sethi, I think, deserves a lot of credit for pushing for him. And he actually overcome a lot of opposition by senior players and by team management to bring.
You will be receiving, many criticism on this.
Oh, I know. He also, I think Najam Sethi also deserves a lot of credit for PSL. I mean, the whole PSL idea. He pushed it forward. They've been talking about it for so long, but he actually
PTI, Imran Khan.
Oh, I know. I mean, they blame him whenever Pakistan team loses. So they should give him credit when Pakistan wins. I mean, he's got something to do with it. And I think PSL is a big factor. The advantage of PSL is that these people, the youngsters in Pakistan now have a new platform on which they can shine, they can play. They can be coached by some of the best international coaches in the world in the 6 franchise teams that exist. They also have the advantage of playing with some of the best players in the world. So overall, I think it's been a great benefit.
So the PSL. Since you brought this up, let me ask you this: Najam Sethi was mishandled by the PTI supporters.
Terrible.
Now and then once that is besides the point. The point is the PTI's official account and many PTI top-ranking leaders praised that effort, right? And then they said, oh, this is what they deserve. This is what he deserves.
Absolutely unacceptable. It makes no sense to personally manhandle somebody like that.
With his wife.
Especially at a time when he had just won the tournament. His team had won the tournament. They've been criticizing him for so long. Whenever Pakistan team loses, they blame him for it. But now that Pakistan has won, they're not willing to give him any credit.
No, instead they are praising the effort of those who mishandle him.
Yeah.
So I mean, what type of culture are we promoting?
It's terrible. Yeah.
Ms. Buddy, you have anything to say on this?
Yeah, just pretty much Riaz
Summed it up.
all that summed it up. So
oh, I'm sure you'd like to say something on the Najam Sethi mishandling.
Yeah,
right?
that was really sad, and unfortunately, Imran Khan once said to Nadeem Malik that as long as this election, quote-unquote election fixer, Nadeem Malik, although court proven that even Imran Khan, Imran Khan himself confessed that he lied when he said about this 35 punchers, but he's still calling him election fixer. I don't know on which account. He said as long as he's there, there is no chance Pakistan ever win any game. But look at it, Pakistan won the championship. PSL really helped.
Okay, well, let's move to the next topic. It's pretty interesting how PTI manages and how, it gave me an impression, because when I saw that many of the PTI leaders, including Ali Zaidi and Imran Khan, PTI leader in PTI Twitter official account, been praising all those goons who mishandled Najam Sethi, and while Najam Sethi was coming out of the stadium along with his wife. I mean, this was pretty tragic.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is that media is always ready to follow.
So you guys are both giving credit to Najam Sethi.
Well, I give him a lot of credit. Obviously, the players did a lot of good work. Sarfaraz deserves a lot of credit as a captain. The coach deserves credit. But I think a lot of this credit actually goes to Najam Sethi. I think I give him full credit for these two things.
Okay, let's move forward to the next topic. So, Prime Minister Modi is due next week, this coming week, Sunday. So, at the end of this week. So, tell me, what is on the table? What is on the agenda? What will he be discussing with President Trump?
So, there are several things that are being talked about. One is a closer defense cooperation between the United States and India. The second major topic is the H-1B issue. That President Trump is cracking down on H-1B, making further restrictions on it that is hurting Indian technology industry, Indian IT industry. So those are, I think, the two big ones, and I'm sure there are other topics as well. So as far as the defense cooperation is concerned, there's a couple of reports. One is that India has agreed, in fact, India's Tata has made a deal with Lockheed to manufacture F-16s in India. So that's one big deal that has been signed. The other is there is, I think, a couple of dozen drones, surveillance drones that U.S. has agreed to sell to India. Now, on the F-16 deal, there has been a lot of criticism in India about the deal. One of the main criticisms is that they believe that U.S. is dumping old technology on India because, U.S. is not buying F-16s, American allies are not buying F-16s anymore. They're moving on to F-35, which is a more modern, more stealth plane. So they're just dumping it on India. And in fact, Brahma Chalani made this remark. He's one of the very hawkish Indian defense analysts, and he said that Tata made the deal to do it. It makes sense because Tata makes noisy cars.
He
tweeted that out. Then I think on the H-1B front, just yesterday, a white ex-employee of Infosys has filed a lawsuit against Infosys for discrimination against non-Indians in the company.
Which is here in Silicon Valley?
In the United States. It's all over the country, but the lawsuit was filed in Dallas area. I think Infosys employs like 20,000 people in the United States right now. And India keeps talking about, hey, we're hiring Americans, we're helping American economy, we're creating jobs. But this guy says that most of those employees are Indians and most of them are actually H-1B workers. So, and he says that out of the current workforce, like Indians make up like 1% of the US population, But in Infosys, they make up 93 to 94% of the employees. So there is clear discrimination going on. He was actually berated in front of other people several times, he and other white employees, by their Indian bosses. So he's very upset about that and has filed a lawsuit. So I think this has given a more high profile to the situation with respect to H-1Bs in the United States.
Misbah,
yeah, actually, besides Brahma Chalani, there's another analyst, Rahul Bedi. I mean, he is saying that basically the way things work in India, there will be the tenders floating and all that, and by the time the first aircraft will come, it would be decades from now. So when this machine is now kind of obsolete, although Lockheed Martin responded, Brahma Chalani, by saying that well, I mean, it is a front line of US Air Force and all that. But he says that 10 years from now, what will be its significance? So virtually he's not happy. However, in India, there is a problem. They have some sort of mistrust with Russians, because see, they wanted to.
Who had mistrust with the Russians?
Indians, because they wanted to buy this aircraft carrier Admiral Gorshikov. What happens that initial price was 960 million, but later on it hiked to 2.3 billion dollars. So obviously India has some issues with that. Besides that, India is also going to get 22 unarmed drones from naval drones from US. And India would be the first country who is the non-NATO ally, non-NATO member to receive this thing. Okay. So that is also another thing which will be actually Delhi was really nervous. New Delhi was nervous that after President Trump, the way in India President Trump was supported in India among the people, like a right-wing extremist Hindutva and who rule over there. But what happens that after President Trump came in power, he met with President Xi, he met with the Prime Minister of Japan, then Britain, Vietnam even, but not New Delhi. So now they are meeting
in the Saudis.
And the Saudis, exactly.
Saudis, Qataris.
Even Nawaz Sharif.
Even
though just shook hands with them.
Yeah, that's true. But they had a telephone call in,
Yeah, okay.
So basically they were nervous there. But if you look overall, it is interesting that he's come here for just 2 days.
But do you think Balochistan will be on the agenda to be discussed? Because many are Indian friends being.
I don't think so. I think one of the things that I expect out of this, by the way, what Misbah said about it being outdated in 10 years, that's absolutely true. See, the new technology, the US is going to F-35, the Chinese is going to J-20, and Pakistanis are looking at J-20 as the next platform to cooperate with Chinese on. And these are stealth aircraft, and the stealth features are built into the airframe and the material, the composite materials that they use in the airframe, the way they build it. So F-16 could not be upgraded to that. I mean, the best you could do with F-16 is maybe change the electronics, but you cannot change the airframe. When you change the airframe, that's a major redesign, so that won't happen. So in 10 years' time, I think F-16, this is 60s technology, very old 70s technology. So it'll be pretty outdated in about 10 years' time. And this is when they're going to be rolling them out in the Indian assembly line.
So Misbah and Riaz, Balochistan is not on the agenda.
I don't think
Pakistan on the agenda.
There may be. I think Modi might bring it up, and he might say, hey, go do something about this. But one of the things that I see, in fact, that Thucydides Trap that we were talking about earlier, one of the things that's happening is that India is clearly becoming more and more closely aligned with the United States. And China is getting more and more aligned with Pakistan in that region. So there's a Harvard Kennedy School of Government professor by the name of Graham Ellison who's written a book called the coming clash.
This time war.
Destined for war. The U.S. and China are destined for war. And then he talks about can they avoid the Thucydides Trap. Now what is Thucydides Trap is basically it's a reference to the rise of Athens that upset Sparta as the two great powers in Greece. And then when one saw the other rising, the other decided to go to war to try to stop their rise. So what he's talking about a similar scenario between the United States and China, where looking at China as a rising power, the U.S. might decide to check it by actually starting a war. But he says that there have been 16 instances in history that he talks about of the Thucydides Trap. And out of those 16, 12 ended up in war, 4 did not. So which one is this going to be? The other thing, with respect to India and Pakistan, he said that in an interview recently, Graham Allison, that whether or not there's going to be war starting in that part of the world as a result of China's competition with U.S. competition with China. And he said, no, the more likely scenario is either Korea or Japan or both. Because that's where the tensions are the highest, that's where things are very unstable right now. And that's where the war is more likely to start rather than in South Asia.
So you're saying he does not foresee war between India and Pakistan?
Not between India and Pakistan. I mean, that's not the issue. The issue here is whether the great powers are going to be involved in any wars.
So even if they do, it's not going to be because of India and Pakistan?
I don't know if he talks about that or not, but he's basically talking about the great power rivalry between the United States and China, not about India, but he's saying that they won't be a part of this.
Okay.
Yeah, see, but his book based on the Thucydides Trap, which is exactly like that once some big power rising, so when it sees some other small power start rising, and he gave the example of Peloponnesian War that which Riaz just mentioned about Sparta and Athens, So then what happens that the small power gets nervous and even big power gets nervous and start to stop it growing,
Stop the other one growing.
Right. And then he gave a very interesting examples. He said that when Napoleon, 200 years ago, Napoleon said that let China sleep, because if it will rise, it will wake up, it will be a trouble for everyone. It will rise a lot, and it will go very high. And basically the main thing, he's basing his thesis that now in US and in China, pretty much they are talking the same thing. Let's make China great and versus let's make America great. And as long as they will not reduce their rhetoric of making their countries great, there is a chance of having war. So in India, Pakistan, this is not the case.
Okay. So the narratives are different.
Yeah, it is a very different. And he's virtually, like Riaz mentioned, about 16 different research. He did 16 different incidents where the Thucydides Trap can be applied. Out of their 12 of them were.
Let me switch gear. Kulbhushan Yadav's new video, the latest video which was released yesterday. Tell me, Riaz, how do you see this video? Do you believe what he's saying, or is it just a scripted readout of what he's saying? How do you see this?
Yeah, I think obviously he's a prisoner.
Right.
So you could argue that he's reading a script. But what he's saying is not just from him. We have had similar, reports from others as well. There is evidence beyond what Kulbhushan has said that suggests, one being the statement by Chuck Hagel, the ex-U.S. Defense Secretary, that India is using these, Afghanistan to attack Pakistan. The other is, a U.S. analyst, Christine Fair, who's actually turned against Pakistan recently. But, about 5-6 years ago, she said she visited Zahedan, and she said, I did not see any visas being issued there. Certainly that's not the primary business that they're in. And they're actually being used as a proxy to attack Pakistan from there, using it as basically a spy's den to carry covert war. So there are other instances, other people who are saying these things. And then there is a statement made by Jadhav himself, who said that, hey, we're going to do these things.
Jadhav, yes.
Given all of that, what he's saying, you may not want to believe every word and everything he says, but the gist of it, does seem to make sense. Now, the timing is the other key issue. Why did this come now? Now, as you know, that he has been sentenced to death. And this video was recorded after his death sentence. In fact, he talks about it in his video. So one of the motives might be for Pakistani military to tell them, hey, we have given you a death sentence, but we may go easy on you if you cooperate with us. Okay. So maybe he's basically coming clean and he's giving them more information about what he was up to save his life.
Yeah, I agree with Riaz that since he's in he's captive, so obviously,
he's probably under the influence.
However, he's giving the references, which you and I, anybody can go check it, I mean, if anybody thinks he's total lying or he's being pushed to say these words, he's giving his code, and Indian government can check it. These are the facts. It's not possible that they can, kind of take anybody who is totally innocent and they teach them all that and he says it. Otherwise, India would do the same thing. There are a lot of people travel to India, they can grab somebody and teach them and say that he is a Pakistani military guy and doing that. So basically, you cannot deny this thing.
India's point is that he is our citizen, he was visiting and they have captured him illegally. This is what they're saying. Indian narrative is that he was never a spy or he was never involved in any criminal activities.
No, but the problem is that
what was he doing under that ID? Why was he calling himself Hussein Mubarak?
He has 2 passports and especially staying in Iran.
They're saying this is all lie. This is all false.
This is all lie.
This is what he's there.
But his passport say that. In fact, it's been confirmed by the Indian media that he was issued a passport under this name.
I mean, he was issued.
These are very questions.
This is. See, the thing is that it's not that Pakistan did not share this information. Pakistan did share this information when they captured them. So obviously, I mean, it is not that only one-sided going on. And I do agree that I do not trust right away when somebody is a captive and captivity and saying these things. But there might be something truth about it. And Iranian government did not come out and said that yes, he was in our country and he was taken from here. They did not even respond when India.
Iran is staying silent on this entire issue.
But if a citizen of another country was abducted from their country, it becomes their responsibility.
It's a big thing.
And they're not speaking up.
Yeah, that's true. It's a big thing.
So will Kulbhushan Jadhav be on the agenda in Prime Minister Modi's visit next week?
I don't think he wants to talk about it. I think India would rather not talk about it. I would rather just deny that, hey, this guy is a spy or a covert activist.
So this is not on the agenda?
No, I don't think so.
Because the way Indian media...
Now, it is possible that Trump might push Modi to restart the dialogue with Pakistan. That is more likely because, see, one of the things, regardless of Thucydides Trap and all the other stuff, one thing that is clear is that it is not in the interest of the United States or the West, or even in the interest of India, to have instability in Pakistan. Pakistan is a nuclear armed country. A country like that, unstable, is not good for anybody.
It's not good for the world.
Yeah.
Right.
And besides, the Trump administration is under a little pressure because recently our friend Muhit Yusuf and Stephen Hadley, they had a very nice piece in New York Times about, and that's what they are saying, that okay, you can use your stick, but you can do the carrot also. So I think I agree with Riaz that I wouldn't be surprised that if President Trump pushed Prime Minister Modi to
have a dialogue. Closing remarks, I'm going to close the show. Closing remarks, Riaz. Yeah. I mean, on this issue we're done. Okay, audience, thank you for watching Viewpoint from Overseas. We'll be back next week. By the way, because there will be an Eid right after this show, about two days after today. So therefore, congrats, Eid Mubarak to all of our audience. We'll be back next week.